Hey guys, what's up? It's Nate back again with another video, and today we're going to discuss the top 5 reasons I love photography and why I think you might like it too. Alright, so reason number 1. Here is the first reason I love photography. I think it's this perfect blend of art and science. It can be super geeky, technically, to the point of the deeper you get into photography, you start looking into understanding things like physics of light and breaking down shutter speeds by fractions and ISOs and measuring light, and it gets nuts. It's not as simple as pressing a button, but that's also the super cool thing about it. The more you dive into that side of it, the kind of better you get. But it goes hand in hand. You can't know all technical stuff and not be creative because your pictures will suck too. So on the other hand, you have to be kind of a creative individual and know how to express yourself and tell stories with the camera. And that is also another process which takes years and years to learn, but it's exciting. You know, it's a journey. It's not something that you'll ever perfect. There have been guys who have been shooting for 30 and 40 years, and they'll be the first to tell you they're still students and they're still chasing that elusive perfect picture. And the exciting and kind of frustrating thing about photography is you will never take the perfect picture. But it's something that you always strive for, and it's fun chasing. All right guys, so reason number 2. The second reason I love photography is kind of like a deep one, but bear with me on this. I think photography is an interesting way to explore the world, but more importantly, yourself. Now, what I mean by that is I had read this quote a couple years ago, and it said that all photography is ultimately self-portraiture. And I didn't understand what that meant for the longest time, but I think what it means to me at least now is whatever you put in front of the camera, whatever you decide to take a photograph of, is ultimately a reflection of yourself. And when you start to understand that, you start to understand that the camera becomes a tool to learn more about you as a person. I could talk a little bit more about this, but it's something I think you just have to experience, and something that comes as you take more and more photos. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one to explain. It's just one of the things you'll have to experience. And I think, like me, over time, it'll make more sense to you. Yeah, let's leave that one at that. All right, guys, reason number 3. The third reason I think I love photography, to be totally honest, it's just an excuse to go on an adventure. I think for me personally, I know there's other people like me, as I'm an introvert, and anybody who knows me, I'm a bit of a homebody, but the camera gives me a reason to leave the house and go out on a little adventure. And the crazy thing about a camera, especially the better you get at photography, you start really breaking out of your comfort zone, and you'll explore areas that you have no business being. Or the camera will give you access to places you wouldn't have had access to if you weren't a photographer. So it almost is like the camera gives you that key to the city that everyone hears about. It just blows doors wide open and gives you an inside scoop at areas that most people don't know about. You get to witness things that you wouldn't have access to if it wasn't for photography. And then to go into these worlds or areas or experiences and document that and come back and share it is pretty damn cool. So that's another reason I love photography. All right, guys, so reason number 4. The fourth reason I love photography, here we go, we're gonna get deep again, is photography has this ability to let you live and exist in the moment. It makes you a more present person. Now, how does it go about doing that? I think the deeper you get into photography, it makes you more hyper aware of the world, your surroundings, and the environment. Because as a photographer, you're constantly looking for something to capture, something to experience, something to document. So you're a little bit more aware of things than, let's say, the average person who isn't a photographer. And it's such a kind of cool way to exist. And in fact, some of the best photographers are so great because you cannot capture a moment unless you're living in that moment. So it has this weird philosophical effect on your life where you just kind of become more present and start to notice things that you wouldn't otherwise notice. So here's a kind of dumb example. Okay, every day, one of my chores here at home is taking out the trash. Every day I take out the trash, I have to pass this particular tree that's on the way to the dumpster. Now, if it wasn't for photography, I'd probably just take that tree for granted and not even notice its beauty. And how much it changes from day to day, from hour to hour, from minute to minute. I've seen that tree lose its leaves. I've seen that tree in full bloom. I've seen that tree in the rain. I've seen it at night. I've seen it in the day. And it looks totally different depending on the day, the weather, the time, etc. And I've noticed myself more and more paying attention to how that tree looks that particular day. Now that may seem absolutely ridiculous, but it's just one example of the way photography makes you look at the world. You start to appreciate and have more gratitude for things that a lot of people take for granted. And I think that's super, super, super cool. And I think you'll enjoy it too. All right guys, so we made it to the end here. Reason number 5. The 5th reason I love photography so much is, to be honest, it just serves as a visual diary for my time here on Earth. I think it's the reason even a lot of social media platforms are so popular. We're all posting pictures of what we do on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat, because it's kind of cool to leave a trail of the things you experience, the things you've done, the things you've seen, what you're about, who you were hanging out with. And just a great way to preserve some awesome moments in your life. And the cool thing is, the better you get at photography, the better able you are to document these great moments that we all have in our life. And to go back and to look at those moments and to be able to appreciate them almost in the exact same way you experienced them, because you were able to capture them so perfectly. It makes it all the more fun. Like, and it's such a gift, where photography is one of those gifts that keeps giving. 20 years down the line, I'm gonna be looking at this video and tripping out on, you know, how I was at this particular point in my life. Documenting your kids grow, cool events, having pictures of people who have passed on. These are all, that's the gift of photography, is it's a way to chronicle and document your life and to share it now and in the future. And I think it's something people take for granted sometimes. And I think it's, again, it's a real gift of photography. And the reason I think we should all kind of just love it and enjoy it is it requires so little, but it gives back so much. So I would say that's the 5th reason I really, really love photography. All right guys, so I want to thank you for hanging out with me again. Like I said, I'm kind of new to this YouTube thing, but I'm trying to keep it real informal. If anything, we're just hanging out, we're shooting the shit. It's no different than if my boys were here and we were talking about the stuff we're all into and geeking out about photography and art and music and all that stuff. So that's the kind of feel I want to keep for this series, and I hope to keep it going. I'm always interested in learning or wanting to know what you guys want to know more about. So please let me know if there's any topics you want me to discuss, any questions you have, and I'll try to address it in future videos. But for now, I think we got it covered for today. So until the next one, peace. Days and 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 days.